Good evening everyone, how are you all doing tonight? Tonight's video is a special one, coming to you directly from my home. Can you feel it? Summer is definitely just around the corner. And what better way to celebrate than with a shoe play video featuring a gorgeous summer dress? There are 2 angles to enjoy, so make sure you don't miss a single moment right to the end. I'm telling you, the second angle is an absolute must-see. You know, I've always been quite obsessed with fashion, with clothes. Not just cute things, but more about how I present myself and what kinds of things really capture people's attention. I'm definitely that kind of girl. Are you the same? Always thinking about how you come across? Back when I lived in Osaka, I practically lived in places like America Mura. I'd spend hours just watching what all the fashion leaders of the time were wearing. I'd wonder, which brand is that? And then I'd pore over magazines like Kaji, which was a huge American casual fashion magazine back then. I'd learn things like, oh, that's Beauty.Beast, or that's Takuya Angel. And I remember thinking, Jean-Paul Gaultier is just so cool. That's how I really started to learn about fashion. It was a fascinating journey, wasn't it? Learning about yourself through what you wear. I used to spend a lot of time in high-end boutiques. At first, I'd just managed to buy a little accessory with my pocket money. But then, I started doing some part-time work. And, well, that work involved having relationships with men. It wasn't exactly glamorous, but with the money I saved, I could finally buy some beautiful clothes. That's how I built up my fashion knowledge and my own personal experience. And it would have been fine if it had just stopped at self-satisfaction. But then, I started taking my own photos. I'd use the decent cameras that some of the men I met through my work had. Are you starting to picture it? The early days, shaping who I am now. When I was dressed as a girl, I felt so normal. Well, maybe not normal, but I was so comfortable. I could laugh without feeling self-conscious. And I'd practice my smiles in front of the camera, trying to find the perfect expression. I'd capture those moments. But despite all that, even though I was fine taking photos of myself, I'd get so nervous when someone else was behind the lens. My face would just freeze up. It was a constant struggle. I really disliked being photographed, or maybe I just disliked the camera itself. Was it because I didn't know how I wanted to be seen? It was like I didn't know how to present myself. What really helped me break through that, what really allowed me to shed a layer and move forward, was taking selfies when I was dressed as a girl. When I was in girl mode, I felt so completely myself. I felt like I could show any expression to people, that I wanted them to see my outfits. It felt so liberating to take photos then. Doesn't that sound amazing? Being truly comfortable in your own skin, even in front of a camera. Even so, as I briefly mentioned earlier, even when I was dressed as a girl, I still really struggled with being photographed by others. I'd get so tense. It was like I was too aware of the camera, and I just couldn't relax or express myself naturally. My face would get stiff, and I just didn't like how I looked in those moments. So yes, being in a photo shoot, being photographed, was something I really disliked. But here's the crazy part. If someone asked me to do a shoot, I'd jump at the chance. It's such a contradiction, isn't it? I'd say I hated being photographed, that I disliked my face in photos, and yet, the moment someone said, "Let's shoot," I'd just say yes. I was, and still am, a complete contradiction. Can you relate to that? Having a part of you that just doesn't make sense, even to yourself. So, when I first appeared in what you'd call an adult video, I felt exactly the same way. It was for a company called Yellow Dragon, which I think was more of a personal endeavour. You know there are famous adult video productions now, but this wasn't like that. It was closer to what you'd call a circle today, but even more individual. They'd film, then distribute and sell the videos online. Yellow Dragon was on that level. It was quite rare at the time. They frequently filmed crossdressers, not so much new halves, but more traditional crossdressers, and distributed the content. And that's how I ended up going for a shoot with them. I was probably around 20. You have to be over 20 or it's illegal, you know. They asked me, fancy a shoot? And I was in Osaka at the time, but I just hopped on the Shinkansen and came straight to Tokyo. Imagine that leap of faith. What would you do if a spontaneous opportunity came your way? I don't really remember the exact route I took, but I think it was probably a suite at the Shinagawa Prince Hotel. That's what I'm thinking now. Though, the layout of the room I remember, the floor plan, makes me wonder if it might have been a suite at the Riga Royal Hotel, maybe in Waseda. But I don't recall going all the way there, so it was probably the Shinagawa Prince Hotel suite. I brought a few outfits, maybe 3 patterns. First we shot with a denim miniskirt, a black tank top and a fluffy wig. Then I think I changed into a black camisole dress for the second shoot. And for the third, I can't quite remember. But I think they provided some lingerie, maybe purple or red. Something a bit sexy. Can you feel the excitement? Stepping into a whole new world, a whole new me. I'd never been in a suite like that before, so I was really excited and nervous. I remember that feeling, and that's why my memory is a bit hazy, and I'm fumbling over my words as I try to recall it all now. It's quite embarrassing. The shoot itself didn't have much lighting, I don't think. No professional lights. Probably just a handheld camera. Not like the ones today, I think it was more like a videotape setup. First they had me answer some explicit questions on my own, like a typical adult video setup. And then, with the person holding the camera in front of me, I performed alone. For the second part of the shoot, when the lighting was different, I think I performed with his things. And then his larger part was put into my bottom. So yes, it was what you'd call a sex video. At the time, I was using a different name, Akie Okuyama. Are you still with me? This was a big step, a moment that shaped everything. How much did I get paid? I think it was just under 100,000 yen at the time, which I think was quite a lot back then. Compared to the current rates for adult videos, it might seem small, but compared to personal shoots or circle productions now, I think I probably got paid quite well. I remember feeling very happy with my 100,000 yen as I made my way back to Osaka. Afterward, my video was sold on their site, and I thought, oh, that went well. But I never actually got a copy of the video content myself. I have no idea what my face looked like, or how I looked in that video. I didn't arrange to get a copy of the tape, and not having it in my possession now feels a bit risky, a bit of a mistake in hindsight. I also don't really know anything about the sales. It was a one-off payment, so there was no agreement for me to receive a percentage of future sales. That's probably why I got the 100,000 yen up front. Still have no idea how well Aki Okuyama's Yellow Dragon video actually sold, or how popular it became. I know I keep saying back then, reminiscing about the past, but I do feel that having that experience of being filmed in that way has definitely contributed to who I am now. Perhaps it's the regret of not properly checking how I was being filmed, or the realization that being filmed, that the camera itself is so connected to a person's individual perspective, their gaze, It's not just about being filmed, it's about being seen by others. I truly believe I gained that awareness through the Yellow Dragon shoot and the camera. I think my resistance to being filmed by others has lessened since then. So, looking back, perhaps it was a good experience after all. Are you still here? Did you get lost in my story, or are you still focused on the screen? I've talked for quite a while tonight, haven't I? If you were so engrossed in my story that you forgot about the video, then you absolutely must go back and watch it from the beginning. Alright everyone, until next time, I'll see you in the next video.